GMO, genetic modified organism.
Now, this GMO seed has over 149 chemicals. In conclusion, let's say 150, some are over 150.
When you want to make GMO, you carry the DNA. DNA is the, like I say, it's like code, small code that determines, for example, the color of your eye, the shape of your fingers. They carry that particular tiny code. The small, they go inside, find it. And then they kind a cell of a particular plant and then put the DNA inside that cell. Then they will not grow that particular cell that they just put inside the tissue culture, and then this tissue starts to grow. By the time it has now grown, the seed from this one that has now grown is now the genetically modified seed. So as you can see, you have DNA, you have cell, you have plant, you have seeds. Harmful chemical is inside. I don't know where people are getting this thing from.
What our forefathers did, what they actually did, is what they call natural hybridization. So let's not mix these things together. Let's not mix them together.
I see, in my life, I've never seen a particular topic that caused problem like this topic. One people are on one side, another people are on one side, they're just having arguments. As a matter of fact, there's nothing you will say about GMO that's going to please anybody, whether for or against. But my job today is to give you the facts on GMO, unaltered. Let's go. If you are here for conspiracy theory, please outside the door. That's not why we're here. We're here to learn. Let's start from G, genetic. What exactly does it mean? It simply means genes. Genes made up of DNA that send particular codes to give you something that you can see in an organism or how it acts. For example, when you born your child, there's how you will look at your child. You just know automatically, this is my child. Because if you are short, is there a possibility that that child is going to be short? If you have bald head, is there a possibility that the child is going to have bald head? If your head is like triangle seat, that child is going to have head like triangle seat. One of the reasons why people start to do DNA testing is because they born their child and their child looks like it does not have the same genes that they have. We understand that? Yes. But aside from how an organism looks, there are other certain things that, you might also want, right? It could be that some people they used to fall sick to malaria. That could be a genetic trait. Some people cannot have HIV. That's a genetic trait, right? Now, this is just human being. Hope you know that you can also have these particular genes in plants. For example, some plants have big seeds, some plants have small seeds. Some plants have longer stems, some plants, insects cannot eat it. Some plants, insects used to attack. These are just genetic abilities that plants follow and come. But now, when we say genetic modification, some of us think that genetic modification actually started in 2024, 2025. It's not true. Genetic modification has been there since the days of our forefathers. So your forefathers been doing genetic modification. Yes, I said it. It's just that they did not have lab. It was not accurate. There was no magnifying glass for them to test this thing.
What our forefathers did, what they actually did, is what they call natural hybridization. So let's not mix these things together. Let's not mix them together.
For example, if your forefather was a farmer and he found that this particular plant have big seeds and I want to have big seeds the next season, your father does something, or your forefather does something where selective breeding, in case that plant, make sure he plants only it alone so that they can give him more bigger crops next season. Your forefathers have been doing it, and it might shock you, but there are certain plants that if you see it today, that is not what it was in the beginning. For example, corn. Yes, the corn that you see now is not the corn that was in the beginning. The corn that you are seeing now was actually gotten from a wild grass known as teosinte. Yes, so this is corn. This one you are looking at is a modified corn by your forefathers. Another example of traditional genetic modification is anything from the cabbage family. Broccoli, cauliflower, kale, they were all gone by selective breeding. Yes. Another thing that was done by traditional genetic modification are the current apples that you are seeing now. The current apples that you are seeing now, shall just know that your forefathers genetically modified it. The one you are seeing now is not the one that used to be before. Another one is dog. Yes, woof, woof, bingo. Bingo did not occur in the wild before. It was human beings that selectively bred wolves and then they gave birth to bingo, because these things don't occur in the wild. Now, when we say modification, it just means, oh, there are certain genes that I want more than other genes. So I find my way or interfere in the process that occurs naturally so that I can get that gene more.
You need to understand that GMO and hybrid are not the same. Hybrid differs from GMO. So before you go and start telling people that our forefathers did GMO, you should firstly understand the differences between GMO and hybrid. GMO has to do with modification, manipulating genes, while hybrid has to do with using of traits to achieve what you want, the desired trait you want. Like, I don't know how to, okay, let me be more explanatory. Hybrid has to do with bringing two organisms, like in biology, there is a way they group things. In kingdom, for instance, human being belongs to a particular kingdom. Goat belongs to a particular kingdom. Lion belongs to a particular kingdom. Crocodile belongs to a particular kingdom. In as much as all these things I mentioned are animals, they belong to a particular kingdom. Then in that kingdom, there are what they call species or varieties. Let me not make it too complicated. Now, birds that flies, like chicken, tolotolo, dove, they are birds. Goats, rabbits, they are animals, but they belong to different species. So you cannot use, for instance, you cannot carry a goat to go and cross with a lion. In as much as they are animals, they do not match, and they can never match. In plants, you cannot carry plantain and cross with rice. It will never match. You can only carry plantain and cross with banana because they are related. You cannot carry yam and cross with cocoyam. You cannot even carry yam and cross with beans, in as much as they are all plants. So what the hybrid people do is this: you carry maybe you see a goat. You know, there are different species of goats. There are goats that are very short, the dwarf goat. There are goats that are very tall. There are goats that has long ear, but all of them are of the same family. Okay, permit me to use the language family. All of them are of the same family. So you can bring the dwarf goat and the one that is tall. You cross them. That is what our forefathers did. They call it crossing. So when you cross these two, you now have an hybrid. The short one may be that is very tough. It hardly goes sick. And the tall one are huge. So they have meat, but they easily get infection, or they are quick to contract disease. They sick quickly. So you now bring that one that is tall, carry that is short and rugged, you match them. The children are now what they call hybrid. The children will now be tall and stubborn to disease. That is what our forefathers did. Like me and you watching, we are both hybrids. Your daddy married your mom, gave birth to you. The same way my daddy married my mom and gave birth to me. I am now an hybrid because I possess the quality of my daddy and the quality of my mommy. And I now bring these two qualities to give a better quality. So I am now an hybrid of my mom and my dad. When I get married, me and my wife coming together will now give birth to what is called another hybrid. So that is what our forefathers did. They bring things they like in plants, they match them together, and what they give you the hybrid. And even in that plant or in that animal, they are limited to a whole sort of things. You cannot carry a snake, bring an elephant and crossbreed them. It's never possible, because in that kingdom they belong to different group. That is hybrid. So we shouldn't mix hybrid with GMO, whereby GMO is bringing an elephant. You take the gene of that elephant, because elephant is big, you remove the gene, you now go and carry an which other animal can I say? You now go and carry a tortoise, because tortoise live longer. You remove the gene of the tortoise, you now put in the gene of the elephant. You now go and carry a kangaroo, because a kangaroo can run fast. You take the gene and you put. Bringing that 3 genes together will now give you an animal that is big like lion, like an elephant, that will live long like a tortoise, that can be fast and can be jumping like a kangaroo. That is GMO. Modification at the gene level. So we should not mix these two. We should not mix these two. And I believe for whatever reason you want to explain what a GMO is, and you're saying you don't want a conspiracy theory, you're a medical doctor, and it amazes me, it gives me concern that you don't even know the differences between a GMO and an hybrid or crossbreed. What our forefathers did is what they call hybridization, what I just explained. But in the terms of GMO, you can go as far as bringing the gene of a lizard, bringing the gene of a mango, bringing the gene of a plantain, bringing the gene of a rice, bringing the gene of a lion. You bring them together, you grow them in the lab, and you get the result of what you want to get for whatsoever reason. That is what they call GMO, genetically modified organisms. Now let's relate it to what? Agriculture. Because I see no reason why people just go along talking all manner of nonsense. As a medical doctor that you are, I expect you to tell us the health implication, the benefits of eating GMO, the health benefit of eating GMO, because all the videos I've been seeing online, everybody is just trying to define what GMO is, tell you why they don't like it, tell you why they like it, but nobody is actually saying about the health implication of consuming GMO. It's true that in GMO you can have a massive production. They call it massive printing of food. In a GMO environment, you can only have a field of rice, yam, beans, but you cannot bring them together. You cannot plant rice here, you plant beans here, you plant cassava. The way our old father did it is just a monoculture, and the food it produced is 40% healthy. So for our African catfish, 3 things that made them stop buying it from us, and they always say that our fishes are unhealthy, and they always prefer white fishes. They say our African catfish has lead deposition, mercury deposition, iron deposition. These 3 deposition, they say, always come from what? Underground water that has been exposed to chemical farming. Because they abuse the use of fertilizers in Africa, so when they put the fertilizers on the farmland, water tends to wash these fertilizers into moving stream where these catfish are. So if you soak a fertilizer inside the water and you put catfish, if the fertilizer is diluted, like if the fertilizer is not much, maybe you're putting a kg of fertilizer in 200,000 liters of water, of course that a kg will not be able to kill everything in that water, and you're growing a fish in that same water. That fertilizer will leach out, it will melt into the fish. That is what deposition is all about. Now this GMO seeds has over 149 chemicals. In conclusion, let's say 150, some are over 150 they bring together. They only tell you that they use viruses, they use whatever the natural things to do GMO, which we know that cells are living organisms. But there is a process of removing that cells. They go through a process, and those chemicals they use, that from 1 to 149 to 150 chemicals they use in the process, is to make sure that when they are bringing out that chemical, that cell, the cell doesn't die. Because you bring out the cell from this organism, you shoot it into this one. For that cell to be alive and to perform the way they want to regenerate it, there are chemicals they use. They use antibiotics, they use ethanol, which is spirit. They use a whole lot of chemical in the process. The same way they do drugs. Most drugs are natural drugs, but when they extract these natural things, they use chemicals. Those chemicals are called synthetic or natural or artificial chemicals in the process. So even if what they are doing is a natural thing, they use chemicals in the process of doing it. The question is this now: if our catfish that grows in a water that is being polluted, that has deposition, and you claim by scientifically proved that the catfish has 3 depositions, which is mercury, lead, and iron, you're now telling us that a seed, that the process of growing that seed, collecting cells, modifying that seed, in the process you use 150 different chemicals. You want to tell us that they do not have deposition? Let me back up my claims. Hold on. Let me use my AI and ask an intelligent question. We all have phone. After this video, go do your own research. Find out if what I'm saying is true or lie. Now listen. Let me ask an AI. Okay, AI. Is there any chemical 100% free from deposition or residual? Answer. Let me see. Okay, it says nothing is 100% free from the possibilities of deposition or residual, regardless of whatever we are talking about. Chemicals used in drugs production or GMO modification, they are not free or 100% free from deposition. Even the chemicals they use in making drugs are not free. That is why they'll tell you not to abuse the drug, because if you overuse that drug over a long period, that drug will destroy your body. So even that drugs you take to cure yourself from infection and disease, when you overuse it, it destroys your body because of the chemicals they use in doing that drugs. Your body can only resist or fight or flush the chemicals in a little dose or quantity. We are talking of food. So you're using GMO. Let's compare GMO to drugs, because they are all of drugs. They use drugs in aiding the modification or the production. You're eating drugs for the rest of your life as a food, because GMOs are drugs as a food. What do you think will happen to you? We should focus more on the health aspect of GMO, not the method, not the sense of GMO. We should focus more on health, because what matters is health. You are what you eat. Yes, you are what you eat. If our African catfish can be rejected because of only 3 depositions, which is iron, lead, and mercury, you are not saying that a food that is being modified with 150 chemicals. So each of those chemicals, if they are putting 0.5% deposition in that seed, calculate and tell us how many percent. Some research have carried it that for each GMO seed you see in the market, it has from 10.5 to 14% of chemical deposition. How many percent is left in the food now? Out of 100%, minus 14 points to be for chemical. How many is left for nutrition? So we shouldn't fool ourselves. As a medical doctor, tell us the health implication. You have your phone, you have everything you need. Ask your AI, whether Meta AI, whether WhatsApp AI, whether paid version, or ask them if there is any chemical free of deposition. If the chemicals used in modifying GMO, making sure that the process that aids the process, making sure that the seed is being actualized. Just like before they do your operation, they inject you to kill some pains, to keep some cells active. That is how they do for the cells. Before they bring them, they inject, they make sure that some cells are active. So they use over 150 chemicals to modify a single seed. And you want to tell us that seed is healthy? You don't even know the difference between modification and hybridization. So how do you expect to know what the modification is all about or the process? We should be careful of what we say or what we do. I'm a secondary literature researcher, so we'll bring facts, we'll bring things, we'll couple, we'll bring things, we'll bring pieces, we'll put them together. Please share this video. We need to be careful of what is being called GMO. If GMO is so whatsoever, if it's as healthy as they claim, why have they not come to defend all these things we are saying? Why have they not, the producers of this GMO, why have they not spoken? Why don't they put, when you buy things, they give you, you see the list of what is in that stuff you're buying. Why are they not doing it the same way with GMO? They should give us the composition, tell us the side effect of, the health effect of eating it, the health implication. I just compared GMO to drugs. As a medical doctor that you are, you know the implication of taking paracetamol for a long period or taking antibiotics for a long period. GMO are chemical food. They use a whole lot of chemical in the process of producing these things. And every chemical you use has a deposition, a residue on it. So you cannot ban an African catfish that has only 3 deposition and you want to accept one that has over 150 deposition on it. GMO is a total poison, and I'm saying it and I'll keep saying it. I cannot sell my conscience for it. We are part of what we eat. Before now, there is nothing like type 2 diabetes in children. There is nothing like hypertension in children. Calculate the time when GMO came into existence. It's just 30 years plus, and calculate the percentage, the rate of cancer, the rate of diabetes, the rate of all manner of health issues. As farmers, we need to be informed. We are still complaining of use of chemicals in farming, and you people are trying to normalize GMO. We should talk of the health implications. I'll keep making more video. I'm not just happy about what people say about GMO. You cannot normalize evil. I'll make a more comprehensive video with facts, with proof, to share in my channel so that people will find out the truth. You are what you eat. You are made up of what you eat. When you go to the hospital today, before they administer treatment, they'll ask you, have you eaten? They'll ask you to eat a nutritional food. A balanced diet. How do you eat a nutritional food when the food you're eating has 14% chemical deposition on it? What happens to you when you eat that food for 50 years, for 30 years, for 20 years? Thank you for watching. I'm Rista Farms, and I'm signing out. God bless you. Do well to share this video. I love you all. See you in the next video. Bye.